All right, greetings and salutations. Welcome to Tanisha's Reading Corner podcast. I am your host, Tanisha. Tanisha's Reading podcast is dedicated to anyone who desires to make reading a daily habit as a form of self-care. To stay updated when a new podcast is uploaded, please subscribe to the channel. In addition, you can find me on Instagram at Tanisha's Reading Corner for many book recommendations and tips and tricks on how to keep reading a daily habit. Let's dive into today's episode. Alright, so a couple of weeks ago, I posted a thing on my Instagram, Tanisha's Reading Corner, and I asked the people, how many of you have a reading journal? And 60% said they did not, and 40% said that they did. So for the 60% that said that they do not have a reading journal, this podcast, this is for you. This is all about reading journals, why we need them, why must we use them, and how to get one. So let's dive in. So a purpose of a reading journal is just that it is a journal dedicated to writing out all of our expressions and how we feel about the things that we're reading in a journal. I've been using them ever since I was little, back in kindergarten really. My kindergarten teacher would tell us all to have a reading book out and bring our reading journals. We write out the ideas, the plots, the themes, the characters, the things we liked, the things we didn't like, and then we'd go from there. So, purpose. Like I said, the purpose of a reading journal is to express in writing your own personal interests and insights and build on skills that are already intuitively possessed. The ability to observe, to listen, to take notes, to reflect on your notes. Ask your questions that are born out of a sense of just genuine curiosity. I graduated from the University of Washington of Tacoma, woot woot, and on their website they have a writing and communications program, and they are very big advocates of creating writing programs for their students, and they encourage their students to use their reading journal because they are giving their students space and encouragement to record their personal thoughts, reactions to the reading, so that way it can locate their specific points of engagement with the text. If they initially react negatively to the text. This is a type of journey specific to books you read and not meant to be confused with a personal journal for your daily life. That's something completely separate. So that is what it is, but why do we need one? Well, I'm going to give you 10 reasons as to why a reading journal will definitely benefit you on your journey into making reading a daily habit. So, number 1, it increases retention. You are better able to remember the details, quotes, plots that you read, whether you write or you type out the notes. Either in a note app that you have on your phone, or you can have a physical one, a reading journal. So, number 1, increases retention of what you just read. Number 2, forces you to contemplate the material you've read and then articulate your thoughts about it. Reading journals are meant for you to essentially take pause and really just stop and think, contemplate. What I just read, why is that important? Why is it stirring these feelings in me? Where in my life can I draw back to an experience that's closest to what the characters are going through? So therefore, you're not just reading, you're actively reading. You're actively engaging with what you're reading. Number 3, allow you to study and analyze the material from the writer's perspective. So honestly, most authors will tell you that they themselves have a reading journal, not just for their own bodies of work, but for others' bodies of work as well. So that way they can go back and look at it and see, okay, what was it about this character that drew me to them? And so really getting the perspective of the author, trying to figure out what is the author really trying to tell me in this text? What am I truly trying to gain? Is it supposed to be fun? Is it supposed to be more introspective? Am I supposed to gain a life lesson from this? What is that? So, number 3, allows you to study and analyze the material from the writer's perspective. Number 4, provides you a time and space for writing practice. Now, in our reading practice, it's always a good idea to leave room for the writing practice. It just gives you a deeper respect for what the authors go through in the writing process. Being able to write out, the ideas, the thoughts, or maybe not even write, maybe doodle or draw what the characters might look like, what their settings might look like. You're better able to visualize what you are reading. I'm a kinesthetic learner, so basically I need to play with the things that I'm learning with, otherwise they stay with me more. And I need to draw it out, write it out, so that way the memory stays with me. So that was number 4. Provide time and space for writing practice. Number 5. It helps keep you on track of what you've read and when you've read it. Librarians have told me that patrons want to pull records of what they've checked out in the past because they don't remember what they read, a certain book or not. That's very true. I love going to libraries. I love looking at all the books and everything. And also, if books and everything, and also in libraries as well, you can check to see what books have I read, when did I last read it. But also with a reading journal, what you can do is dedicate one page to all the books you've read this month, or a couple months, or for the year. So in case you have a goal, like I want to read X amount of books before the end of the year, you can keep track of all those things. All right, and you know what? We're going to take a quick little break right now. Going to do a quick little product promo, and then we'll jump right back into the episode. So stay tuned. Ladies of the podcast, did you know that your period is not supposed to hurt? Periods are normal, but the pain should not be. Inflammation occurs naturally on your cycle, but painful periods indicate that the inflammation is higher than it should be. That's where Semaine supplements come in. Semaine PMS supplements comes packed with 9 superpowered plant extracts and minerals. Semaine will not only help to lower your pain levels, but to also support your body naturally from cycle to cycle. For more information, go to their website at Semaine, SEMAINE, health.com. Also follow them on Instagram at Semaine Health. Also, listeners of the podcast, when you find a supplement that you like to use, your promo code, Tanisha's Reading Corner, to get 20% off your first bottle. Again, the promo code, Tanisha's Reading Corner, to get 20% off your first bottle. Now, let's get back into the episode. Alright, so again, that promo code for the Semaine supplements is Tanisha's Reading Corner. Okay, so jumping right back in with number 6 as to why you need a reading journal. It ensures that you capture the ideas and inspirations that pop up while you're reading. I have found that it is an incredibly fun and creative way to just keep yourself grounded into what you're reading and be able to play with it. One thing I like to do with my reading journal, I like to put stickers on, I like to doodle, I like to draw, I like to paint, oftentimes in my reading journal, the scenes and the characters and the main ideas. And with that, it helps you to stay with you. Also, number 7. So like I said in the beginning, your reading journal, well, I did say in the beginning your reading journal shouldn't become like your life journal, but honestly, number 7, it can become your life journal if you truly desire. One thing I like to do and look back over my old reading journals, it brings to mind where I was at that state and point in my life. Why I read this book, maybe it helped me in a certain way, in a certain aspect. So yeah, your reading journal can become your life journal. You can essentially work out issues that you're going on with your own personal life through your reading journal. You might also include information as to why you gave the book the period, time in which the book was set, where you chose to read it. Did you read it at home? Did you read it on the beach while you're traveling? And number 8, okay. It gives you a place to write down other reading-related information, such as titles of books recommended by others, books you've read about and want to try, or books you've loaned from friends. I suggest keeping a few pages in the back of your journal to keep these kind of notations. So that way, in case you loaned it or it's a library book, you'll be able to remind yourself, okay, I got to make sure to get this back on this date at this time. So number 8. And number 9. Now, if you record your favorite quotes, some become touchstones in the future that are worthy of sharing. Oftentimes, some of the most famous quotes from books, I like to keep in my reading journal, then I'll copy and paste them other places as well. One reading quote that I'm currently thinking about right now, it's actually not from a book, it's a Shakespeare play. It's Love is a Tender Thing. It was from a Romeo and Juliet play, and I don't know why, but that quote always kind of stuck with me as well. And also, just as that last book that I read, Sweet, Slow, Plenty of Rhythm, it was a quote that Maggie says, music is complicating, so let it complicate you. So moments like that where, when you physically write something out, you're more able to remember it. And quotes like that, you want to keep with you because you never know when you might need them. Number 9. So now, number 10. The 10 reason as to why you need a reading journal. You can capture. You get a sense of satisfaction from knowing how much you've read and how much you've benefited from it. A reading journal keeps old friends alive. Books often become as beloved as a friend, or at times a family member. They truly, for me, have given me a sense of pleasure, of wisdom, an escapism from this crazy world into a place where I can from which I draw and become very grateful for. My reading journal ensures that the books that I've read, the lessons that I've learned from reading those books, those lessons will never be forgotten. And therefore, those lessons I carry with me and I can apply to my own life. So, those are the benefits of having a reading journal. But personally, the reason I have a reading journal, the reading journal that I have is actually just a blank journal where I just go through and I do, like I said previously, put stickers in, draw, paint, obviously write, put quotes in from the book and write out the characters. And and if the book centers on familial relationships, I like to draw out, little family trees, or if it's a period piece, I like to get to the date so that way I'm able to kind of draw, okay, this is set in 1950s to 1960s, so I kind of okay, this is what happened in this time, so that's why the character may have responded this way. And yes, I can remember, how all the characters are related, how the time is related to everything else, so yeah. And that's what I do with my personal reading journal, and the reason why I have one is that from all those benefits, I get to go back and review books that I've read and perhaps if I want to reread them again. So, where would you go to buy a reading journal? Well, I would recommend going to Amazon, your favorite bookstore. They have a lot of reading journals there. Like for me, I have a blank one that I just doodle myself. But if you need more encouragement or you need like prompts, there are pre-prompts that are set up as well to help guide you with your reading. Or if you want more control, creativity like me, just get a regular journal. Use the page for book lists of books you read and want to read. This way you can stay on top of reading goals for the month or the year. Okay, and as always, I like to end every podcast with a quote to contemplate. So this one comes from the series Harry Potter. And this is something a character Sirius Black says. And the quote goes, "We've all got both light and dark inside of us. What matters is the part we choose to act on. That's who we really are." Alright, I leave you with that, but then again, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Tanisha's Reading Corner. You can follow me on Instagram at Tanisha's Reading Corner for more tips and tricks like this on how to keep reading a daily habit. Please like, rate, and review the episode. Share with family and friends, help grow the podcast. And thank you again for listening. I hope to see you next week. And until then, I wish you all good wellness and good reading.